If there was any film that was going to break my dry spell when it comes to reviewing movies on YouTube in long form, it was going to be Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Now, I've been doing a lot of short form stuff on social media, TikTok, Instagram, things like that, but I want to get back into doing long form, and this movie definitely brought me out of that. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Chalice. I review movies on a lot of different platforms, but I'm getting back to doing the YouTube thing, so here we go. This film is an absolute masterpiece, but I don't like saying things like that without describing the reasons why I feel like that, so let's dive into it. Starting with the casting. Of course, right off the bat, me being a Matt Damon fan of his work, I was not expecting him to play Odysseus the way he did. He is somebody who I think has the chops to do it acting-wise, but I just never pictured when I think Odysseus, I think Matt Damon. But he killed it and delivered, and this is probably one of his career best performances. The Departed is my favorite movie of all time, so I think that's my favorite performance of his, but I think this might be his best. Anne Hathaway is one of those actresses that just delivers every time she is on screen, so she didn't do anything to me that was overly surprising. She was great, but I really expected that from her. Is that a weird bar to set for somebody? Now, Tom Holland is somebody I see a lot of people give a lot of praise for. For me, I think he did good, but I didn't see past him being Tom Holland. I'm sorry, maybe I just feel like maybe he's just typecast, like he just, I can't even elaborate on that because it just didn't do it for me. He was good, and a lot of people are praising his performance, but there were other standouts that I felt overshadowed his performance. Two main standouts for me are John Leguizamo. Like, if you are familiar with his work, he does a lot of comedic work. So seeing him step into this role, I kind of thought he was gonna be like a side character, but he was like a main character. And one of the biggest draws for me was the fact that I didn't expect him to deliver the way he did. He was absolutely the most talked about character when we left. Everyone's like, wow, John did such a great job. Like, I was not expecting that. The one character that I don't see getting enough praise is Charlize Theron as Calypso. I did not think she was as involved in the film as she is. Now, having read the book, I knew that Calypso's a big part of the book or the story, but I did not see her do a lot of press. And I know that's a really weird thing to say, like, oh, because they didn't do press, you didn't think they were in a movie. But that is the truth. I didn't know she had such a big role in this film. And every time she was on screen, she just really pulled at my emotional strings. I just think that there's not enough people talking about her performance. Now, when it comes to Lupita Nyong'o, she is a phenomenal actress, but people are complaining about the fact that they don't feel like she had enough screen time. But if you read the story, you know that Helen of Troy is not that big in the Odyssey. She is an important character, but just not in this particular story. I didn't go in expecting to see her on a screen half the movie. But I was actually quite disappointed that Zendaya's character, Athena, wasn't on screen as much as I thought she was going to be. Now, she was fantastic. Zendaya is fantastic anytime she's on screen because she has a great acting face. She's really good at the emotional piece when it comes to doing a lot with saying very little. But nonetheless, Athena is a massive character in this film, and she's seen throughout the film. And when she does come on screen, her presence is felt. But I just really thought, as soon as the film ended, I turned to my left and I was like, Zendaya was barely in this movie. And now that people have seen it, I see some people saying the same thing. So I knew that I wasn't tripping when it came to that, but she's great in every scene that she's in. Now, there are so many big names in here that it seemed like everyone was like, oh, Christopher Nolan is doing a casting call for his film. I want to be in it. I don't care how small a role. There's people like Corey Hawkins and Mia Goth. Robert Pattinson had a significant role, but I want to talk about Robert Pattinson. He was one of the top two draws for me when it came to looking at the cast. I was like, oh, I want to see what he's going to do. And I feel like I've seen him play that character before, like the bullying character. But nonetheless, he's a phenomenal actor. Anything he's in, he's absolutely great. His jawline was very distracting. Very distracting. Now, the score by Ludwig is absolutely fantastic. Like, it pairs so well. It doesn't overpower the scenes. It just kind of like lingers in the background as it should. It doesn't have to be a main character. It just pairs really well with what we're seeing unfold on screen. Now, this is not a page-by-page version of the Odyssey. And if you're looking for Homer's version, you've probably got to look elsewhere because that is not what this is. This is Christopher Nolan's take on this story, and he did his own thing with it. And that's what I love the most. It was easy to digest because anyone who has read this story, okay, whether it be in high school or recently, you know that it can be hard to digest unless you're reading the translated version, but he made this very, very digestible for our palate and easy to follow along with. And that is probably one of the biggest things that worked for this film, was that any and everybody can enjoy it, whether you're familiar with the story or not. Another thing that really worked for this is that, keep in mind, this film is pushing 3 hours long, okay? And when you are watching a film that's almost 3 hours long, it's easy like shifting your seat, want to go get popcorn or a drink and just kind of like go to the bathroom or something because you're like bored. But this film doesn't do that, not once. It keeps you engaged, and one of the reasons I think it does that, aside from there being so many different characters, okay, big name faces that you really want to see on the screen, it changes scenes so often that you're not bored at looking something happen in the same space. Like, because he has so many beautiful, beautiful locations that you're just so eager to see, like, hey, what's going to happen here? You're just locked in, and it's a constant change, and there's never a dull moment. He keeps you locked in, dialed in, and never loses your interest. And that is one of the reasons I think Christopher Nolan is one of the greatest directors of all time. He is my favorite director of all time. And it's for reasons like this. This man does not miss. Something I really wasn't expecting is how deeply he dove into the horror elements. So it is mystical, magical type things that happen in the story, but the way they play out on screen, it's not too like CGI, like green screen type thing. Like, these look like horrifying. These are horrifying moments, and it kind of teeter-totters on the horror film side, but enough to like dabble in it and then go back to being what it is, an absolute beautiful epic. All right, so let's get into a couple of things that didn't work. And when I say couple, they're very minute because, like I said, this movie's a masterpiece. So to give it that label, that means that there could barely be anything wrong with the film. There are two things that kind of bothered me. Now, we already talked about the whole Zendaya missing from the film. That wasn't something that like took away from the film. It's just something that I immediately walked away thinking that, hey, we didn't really see that woman in that movie that much. Some people have even joked that they saw her depressed longer than she was in the movie, which is fair, but she's a big name. Like, I am not going to have somebody like Zendaya in my film and not have her do press and do all the carpet things. Like, she was phenomenal in this. I'm not talking down on the fact that she wasn't in there that much. I'm just saying that is the first thing I walked away thinking. Now, we're going to get into a couple of things that didn't really work so well for the film. Now, when I say couple, they're very, very minute. One thing that really kind of got at me was the fact that Robert Pattinson and Corey Hawkins, them two, their banter, their dialogue back and forth was rather elementary. The bullying that they were doing, it was very elementary to me, and it irritated me when that scene or those scenes were going on. But that was my only thing that I was like, But other than that, this movie is absolutely stunning from beginning to end. Everyone brought their A game, and I just cannot believe that this man can deliver something so antique, an old story, and spin it and make it something that's so relevant, or not relevant, but so entertaining and engaging today. Overall, if you're a Nolan fan, this will definitely challenge your top three for sure. I mean, we all have like The Dark Knight and Interstellar and Inception, but this film is definitely going to make you think, one of them got to get out of there, because this is top three for sure. Ultimately, if anyone was thinking of releasing a film this year, thinking that they have a chance for winning Best Picture for the Oscars, cancel it, push it back. Because have you ever finished watching a movie and your first thought is, this is going to win all the Oscars. This is going to sweep. Like, that's how sure you are that this movie is that great. And we're only 7 months into the year. We still got 5 more months for people to release things. And this is probably going to be gunning. The only thing I think could give it a run for its money when it comes to cinematography is going to be Dune 3. But I mean, acting wise and all that, I can't speak for how Dune is going to be acting wise, but this cast delivered, and I think it's going to be a really, really tough competition if we are talking between Dune Part 3 and the Odyssey. But the Odyssey's their name is going to be in the conversation in every way along the line for when it comes to award season. Overall, I have to rate this a 9 out of 10. This is absolutely phenomenal. I want to see it again and again, and you have to see this in IMAX to get that overall experience of what he wants you to feel when he made this film on his IMAX 70mm cameras. I wish I had a 70mm IMAX screen here, but we don't. So I just saw it in regular IMAX, which was absolutely great. I'll take that. But let me know